Name's Conrad Harrigan, family man. And if you cross my family, well, you'd better pray.
MobLand is a riveting British crime drama that dives deep into the brutal intricacies of London's criminal underworld. Created by Ronan Bennett and directed in part by Guy Ritchie, the series offers a compelling blend of explosive action and psychological complexity. Originally conceived as a Ray Donovan prequel, MobLand evolved into a standalone saga, allowing for a sharper, more nuanced exploration of crime, power, and family. Anchored by powerful performances from Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, and Helen Mirren, the show quickly establishes itself as a gripping narrative of shifting loyalties, deep-rooted trauma, and the devastating cost of violence. At the heart of MobLand is Harry da Souza, played with weary gravitas by Tom Hardy. Harry is the Harrigan family's trusted fixer, a man whose job is to clean up the messes left behind by impulsive violence and political machinations. His quiet professionalism and moral uncertainty form the show's emotional backbone, particularly as he is pulled deeper into the escalating chaos between the Harrigans and their rivals, the Stevensons. Across the first 5 episodes, Harry's internal struggle grows more pronounced. While his loyalty to the Harrigans remains unshaken, the growing danger to his own family, especially his daughter Gina, forces him to reckon with the human cost of his work. The series begins with a chilling demonstration of the Harrigans' ruthlessness. In the opening episode, Stick or Twist, a meeting arranged by Harry to resolve a conflict between 2 mob bosses ends in their execution by Conrad Harrigan and his wife, Maeve.
Right. Change your plan.
This moment is not just a statement of power, but a clear indicator of the cold efficiency with which the Harrigans eliminate threats. Maeve, portrayed with icy control by Mirren, quickly emerges as the true architect of the family's strategy. Her quiet manipulations and calculated cruelty position her as a shadow leader, one whose influence quietly overshadows even Conrad's authority.
Stick.
Stick.
The plot ignites when Eddie Harrigan, the volatile and drug-addled grandson of Conrad and Maeve, stabs a man in a nightclub during a night out with Tommy Stevenson, son of rival boss Ritchie Stevenson. What initially seems like a drunken, foolish act quickly escalates into a declaration of war. The randomness of Eddie's violence underscores a recurring theme of MobLand, the danger posed by unworthy heirs and the fragility of organizations built on family ties, rather than merit or logic. Eddie's lack of remorse, revealed chillingly when he admits that stabbing someone felt great, marks him as a dangerous wildcard, ripe for manipulation by Maeve, who sees in him the potential to extend her legacy of control.
Hello? What's this?
None of the year.
In response to the incident, Conrad, at Maeve's urging, pushes into the fentanyl trade, territory traditionally controlled by the Stevensons. This aggressive expansion is more than a business decision. It's a deliberate provocation. When longtime advisor Archie voices concern over the move, Maeve subtly suggests his loyalty may be compromised. Soon after, Conrad murders Archie,
Stick or twist, baby. Stick or twist.
a brutal act that not only eliminates dissent, but also demonstrates Maeve's chilling influence over her husband. As usual, Harry is tasked with cleaning up the scene, a grim reminder of his complicity in the very world he increasingly questions.
Get this back, the paint off, and repaint that. Floorboards have to be replaced because we've got a fucking hole in them.
The subsequent fallout propels Episode 2, Jigsaw Puzzle, into darker territory. The revelation that Archie may have been a police informant sends waves of paranoia through the Harrigan ranks. Harry, already on edge after being briefly arrested due to an anonymous tip-off, finds himself navigating a minefield of suspicion and betrayal. Meanwhile, Ritchie Stevenson's threats become more personal, particularly when he begins surveilling Gina in a menacing show of force. Harry's desperation grows, not just as a fixer, but as a father trying to protect his child from a war he cannot escape. As tensions mount, the series peels back layers of its characters. Episode 3, Plan B, sees Harry grappling with a collapsing marriage to his wife, Jan, and growing political pressure from within the Harrigan family. Bella Harrigan, the family's politically ambitious cousin, tries to blackmail her father using a compromising video, in a bid to expand her influence beyond organized crime into the corridors of power. Harry warns her of the dangers she doesn't fully understand, but Bella's subplot opens the door to a broader commentary on the intersections between politics and criminal enterprise. Maeve's manipulation of Eddie continues unabated. She treats his sociopathic tendencies as assets, nurturing them as she prepares him for a leadership role. Meanwhile, Conrad begins to lose his grip, reacting rather than leading, further highlighting Maeve's dominance. The narrative also begins to explore deeper emotional wounds, particularly through Kevin, Harry's longtime ally. A shared traumatic history in a brutal youth detention center surfaces, revealing scars that bind them beyond business. Episode 4, Rat Trap, delves into the corrosive effect of suspicion. With DS Fisk and DS Mukasa pressing harder, the Harrigans begin to suspect there is a mole within their inner circle. Ironically, Maeve and Conrad's growing mistrust falls on Harry, the one person who has remained steadfast. This misdirected suspicion illustrates how even the most loyal figures can become targets in a world defined by fear and self-preservation. Harry's wife, John, long a peripheral figure, begins to take a more active role, challenging the morality of their life and confronting Conrad herself. Her evolution from passive observer to active participant brings an emotional realism to the narrative, highlighting how those on the periphery of crime are eventually dragged into its vortex. At the same time, Maeve's control over the family reaches its apex. Her grooming of Eddie becomes even more explicit, her contempt for weakness more visible, and her orchestration of violence increasingly strategic. Her actions are not just about maintaining order, but about reshaping the family and her image. Cold, efficient, and devoid of sentiment. Episode 5, Funeral for a Friend, acts as a mid-season crescendo. The funeral for Tommy Stevenson is not merely a ceremony, but a high-stakes battlefield. Ritchie, still burning with vengeance, invites the Harrigans under the guise of truce.
For God so loved this world that he gave us his one and only Son. And those that believe in him shall not perish, but have eternal life.
What unfolds is a masterclass in manipulation. Harry, forewarned, orchestrates a trap of his own, blackmailing Ritchie's henchman Freddy with incriminating evidence and planting weapons at Ritchie's estate, hoping to give the law enough leverage to strike. The funeral itself is tense and volatile. Eddie's erratic behavior threatens to ignite conflict at any moment, while Maeve remains composed, quietly orchestrating her next move. Harry and Kevin arm themselves discreetly, anticipating betrayal at any turn. The episode ends with a brutal, perfectly timed strike. A car bomb kills Vron, Ritchie's key lieutenant. The call that triggers the explosion is placed by Maeve, confirming her role as the hidden hand behind the Harrigans' most devastating moves. By the end of Episode 5, MobLand has laid the foundation for a complex, emotionally resonant crime saga. Its characters are not archetypes, but fully realized individuals with conflicting desires, personal histories, and shifting allegiances. The show's style reflects its substance. While echoing Ritchie's flair with bursts of dark humor and kinetic pacing, MobLand opts for gritty realism over stylized spectacle. Its cinematography underscores this, contrasting bleak urban decay with the deceptive beauty of the English countryside, where violence still finds fertile ground. The cast performances are uniformly strong, with Hardy's restraint, Brosnan's quiet menace, and Mirren's icy brilliance grounding the series in emotional truth. More than just a crime thriller, MobLand is a meditation on the consequences of unchecked ambition, the fragility of loyalty, and the psychological cost of living in a world defined by betrayal. As the lines between personal and professional collapse, and as power is consolidated through blood and manipulation, the second half of the season promises even deeper descent into chaos. With all-out war looming and no character truly safe, MobLand stands poised as one of the most compelling entries in modern crime drama.